Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about colds and flu and dealing with viruses. And we talked about learning about this last time. Now, colds and flu, everyone uses that term as if it's the same thing. Products contain labels that say colds and flu, and colds and flu are very different viruses and our bodies respond very differently, and we need to pay attention to that. So you all have the capability of Googling something, so I don't want you to write this down from my slide. I'd like you to Google the difference between colds and flu and pay careful attention to what happens with fevers. Colds, hardly a fever at all. Flu, big fever. Colds, runny nose, lots of mucus, whereas fever and headaches and body aches are more part of flu. The most important thing that I want you to pay attention to is how long the symptoms are likely to last. That's very important, because if you're trying to treat flu and you're expecting your body to respond as if you have a cold, it's going to be a different response and an unrealistic expectation. Also, when you've had influenza, serious flu, you are going to have a longer recovery period, and you need to give your body what it needs to help it recover. So don't think you're going to just bounce back from having flu, whereas you will bounce back from having a cold. If you have a cold and you don't bounce back, there's something else going on. Your body is more depleted and you need to pay attention to that. So how is your illness yours? If any of you have ever seen a homeopath, you are aware of how many questions we ask. We ask a lot of questions, and we do that for a very specific reason. Everyone's experience of a virus or an acute illness is going to be different. For example, a sore throat is an easy one to use as an explanation. Some people get a sore throat that is worse on the left. Some people get a sore throat that is worse on the right. Some people feel better when they drink cold fluids. Some people feel better when they drink warm fluids. Some people have a burning sore throat. Some people have a feeling that there's sticking in the throat. Others feel like it's raw. Some people feel like they've been screaming and it's now all scratchy. Lots of variety in the expression of how your body is dealing with a sore throat. So you need to pay careful attention to that, because every remedy we do is going to be different. Every substance you put in the body is going to have a different way that it is going to help your body respond. So if you use the wrong remedy, nothing will happen. If you use the right remedy, you are going to nudge in the right direction. So how is your illness yours? You need to pay careful attention. You need to find out, when is something worse? What symptoms do you have to start off with? How is your body expressing this? Is it worse at night? Is it worse during the day? Is it worse if you swallow? Is it worse if you eat something? Is it better if you swallow? Is there a constant urge to do so? There's mucus. Yes, there's mucus. Where's the mucus coming from? What's the mucus look like? When you go and see a homeopath, we are interested in the mucus. That TMI, ew, that's not going to happen in a homeopathic consultation. When people come in my office and they blow their nose, I want to see the tissue. I want to see what that mucus looks like, because it tells me something about how their body is expressing their reaction to that viral infection. And it is very important information, because each remedy has a different way of helping. So you need all that information. Remember, you're running on a 12-volt battery. So if you get a cold, if you get flu, you need to remember to respect your body's energy boundaries. It needs 6 volts for essential services. Don't take more than 1 or 2 volts for other things. If it is fighting a virus, it is busy. And don't suddenly schedule a braai followed by a lunch, followed by a breakfast. You're going to feel antisocial. You're going to be tired. You need to rest. You need to give your body time to recover and the energy to fight off the virus. So respect those energy boundaries. You need to make sure that you are hydrated. Whether it's cold or flu, it doesn't matter. When you lose mucus out of your nose, when you cough it up, you are losing moisture. When you sweat, you are losing moisture, and your body has only got so much of reserve. So you need to make sure that you are properly hydrated. If you are thirsty, drink fluid. If you find it uncomfortable to do so, try a different temperature. Not everybody likes to drink cold fluid. Sometimes hot water, tepid water. Find out what you want and drink fluid. It's very important. Then, please, 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 please eat healthy food. When you have using energy in that 12-volt battery to fight a virus and digest food, make sure that the food that you're eating is of value. Don't feed your body junk and expect it to end up behaving like a Maserati and deal with this virus like a champion. You have to feed your body what it needs, not what your taste buds want. Vitamin C, very important. Those picture from last time of that whole lot of robots with a Will Smith in that factory, those robots end up with a gun and a helmet when you take vitamin C. They are better at fighting viruses. So you need to make sure that they've got what they need. Sleep. If you are tired, go to bed. Rest. Take it easy. You have sick leave for a reason. If you continually get sick, you need to deal with the reason why that's happening. So please rest as much as is possible. Give your body what it needs. Children just pass out. They haven't been programmed to just keep going. You're not a hero if you end up at the end of the year and you've had 3 or 4 colds, but you've still got all of your sick leave. You're an idiot. So when your body needs sleep, let it have that. It is busy healing. It is busy fighting off viruses. Please stay away from dairy products when you have a cold. People say to me, oh, dairy, it doesn't cause mucus. Dairy does not cause mucus. Let me reiterate that. It does not cause it in the first place. But man, if it's there already, it's going to help it keep going. I use the analogy of firewood. So if there's a fire burning and you throw logs, it's going to keep that fire burning indefinitely, regardless of what started the fire in the first place. But if you have no fire burning and you throw logs, it's just a pile of logs. Nothing's going to happen. And that's the relationship that dairy has with mucus. If you have a problem going on and you throw in a lot of dairy, so loads of yogurt and cheese and milk and more coffee and more coffee and more coffee, what's going to happen is that you will become more slimy. It will be easier for your body to produce large quantities of slime, which you then have to cough out, blow out, etc. And it just makes the slimy phase of the illness worse, which is a good phase. We want it, but we don't want it to last for 2 weeks. So stop the dairy. As soon as you start getting the beginnings of a cold or the beginnings of flu, you need to just stop with the dairy. When the mucus phase is over, the dairy can come back. When there's no fire burning, it's not going to cause a fire. Then wash your hands. This is 2021. We now are highly aware. When the president gets on the TV and he tells us, my fellow South Africans, and he starts reminding us to wear a mask and to wash your hands, this is very sound advice. It makes a huge difference to how many viruses come in. So when you've been exposed to a virus and you have it and you are brewing it and you are living with other people, wash your hands frequently, because you can put viral fibers onto surfaces and you can make other people around you sick. So wash your hands frequently, please. Then listen to the red flag symptoms. I need you to pay careful attention to this. If you are taking the correct remedy and you are not getting better, please seek medical attention. Go and see a homeopath and find out what the real remedy is, because you are still learning. You may not get it right first time. The remedies are designed to help you with that, and I will explain that just now. But if you are not getting better within 2 or 3 days of a cold, 2 or 3 days of having a fever and flu, you should start improving. If you are not improving in 2 or 3 days, you need to seek medical attention. If your fever goes above 39 and it won't come down, you need to seek medical attention. If you are feeling miserable and awful, and your chest is sore, please seek medical attention. If the cough starts to ache and hurt, please seek medical attention. Don't be a hero. If you feel like I think I'm dying, please go and see somebody. This is very important. Don't be a hero. So the remedies for colds and flu. This is where the fun starts. Those of you who've done this course before, welcome back. Those of you who are new, here we go. Homeopathic remedies are made from lots of different substances, and each one is different and has a profoundly different effect on all the systems of your body. Some affect some systems more than others. And that's why it's important for you to get as much detail as you can from the person who's sick, or to go gather that information about yourself, because the closer you choose the remedy, the more likely you are to be nudging your body in the correct direction. You need to match the symptoms that that remedy treats with the symptoms that you are experiencing or the person in your family is experiencing. And the closer the fit, the faster the improvement. So take notes. Right, Pulsatilla. I'm not doing these in alphabetical order. I want you to become aware and familiar with the pages in your journal. So Pulsatilla, this is a beautiful plant. It's called the windflower, and it grows on rocky mountain slopes. Now, some remedies have more of an emotional side to them and others not so much. And we talk about a personality. This is how the mental and emotional state of the person is affected by being sick. And sometimes it's not particularly noticeable, and other times it is very, very much part of the symptom picture that we are trying to treat with that remedy. And it's easy to recognize those patterns because they are so distinct. Now, Pulsatilla, when a Pulsatilla is healthy, they are sweet and adorable and loving, and they need positive attention from people. They need affirmation, and they will do things like be nice because they know other people will be nice to them when they're nice. So they're generally likable human beings, but they're also quite needy. And the more unwell they get, the more needy they become. And when they get very sick, they want to get back inside mom's skin. They want to follow her into the toilet and sit on her lap while she does her business. Little people, when they get Pulsatilla, they don't hide it. They're not socially aware of what's socially acceptable and what's not. And they become incredibly clingy and needy, and they want to be with you all the time. In an adult, it's less obvious, but they need people. And in yourself, if you've gone into a Pulsatilla state, you feel like nobody loves me and I want attention. And you put yourself out there, and you contact friends and family, and you share your vulnerability because they're going to be nice to you because you need them to. Now, that's a Pulsatilla state. They're very needy, clingy, and they need affirmation, and they need attention when they're unwell. And they feel much better when they get attention. They feel remarkably better if you make them something to eat, and you make them comfortable in their bed, and you speak softly to them. They feel so much better because they feel loved and cared for. It's very much a Pulsatilla thing. Very needy, very clingy. They want to be with and on you. They also get very red eyes. They get lots of tears when they're unwell, and they get lots of bland tears and lots of eye symptoms. Bless them. They also, in the mornings, they get this lovely agglutination, this sticky mucus. When they wake up in the morning, and you can go like this and pull it away, and it's like a suspension bridge of yellow mucus. That's a specific Pulsatilla symptom, and it is very much a keynote of that remedy. When I mention a keynote in the future, a keynote is one specific symptom that belongs to that specific remedy. If you have that keynote, that remedy will help. Then they produce mucus, vast quantities of mucus. Their nose seems to block up at night and feel all blocked and swollen, and they get a postnasal drip. When they lie down, cough, 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 sit up, nothing. Lie down, cough, 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 sit up, nothing. Their nose feels all blocked up and swollen in the nighttime, and when they wake up in the morning, it starts to run, and it runs, and they get this juicy greenish sort of mucus. And they're thirstless. Pulsatillas are thirstless. You'd think with all that mucus and all that feeling, they're going to want more fluid. They are thirstless. It's an unusual keynote of this remedy is that they are thirstless. They do not want to drink fluid. So where can you find Pulsatilla if you needed it? Now, Pulsatilla is found in nasosinus, and it's in pentagon. In your notes, next to the name of the remedy, it says Pulsatilla vulgaris, Pulsatilla in brackets. Then there's a long black line, specifically a blank space for you to write in nasosinus and pentagon. Now, you're wanting one specific remedy, absolutely, and you think Pulsatilla is going to match your symptoms brilliantly. This is the one I want. You're still learning, and that's what over-the-counter products are there for. They are there to catch all the bases. So when a product says in the nasosinus, it says sinusitis, blocked nose, and then sinus congestion, this basket of individual remedies that makes up the one product contains lots of remedies that are there to treat a specific basket of symptoms. So the remedies in there are similar to each other, but they are different sides of the same picture. So in nasosinus, it's lots of different types of expressions of sinusitis and nasal congestion, etc. And pentagon has a lot of remedies for the basic remedies for a cold. Basic colds and flu. If you're going to do one-stop shopping, that's pentagon. So let's move on to the next one. Hepar sulph. Hepar sulphurus calcareum is a homeopathic remedy, and it is only used by homeopaths. The father of homeopathy, Hahnemann, he invented this substance. It's some minerals that he put together, and he found that it had a profound effect on the human body. Hepar sulph has got a lot of sticking pains. They get sore throats where it feels like there's sticks involved and sticking sensations in the ears. They are also highly averse to being cold. They want to be wrapped up warm. They want to be no drafts. They don't want any wind on their skin. They cover their ears. They want to hide inside the blanket. There's no such thing as air that feels too warm. For most people, when they get inside a bed and they cover their head, the air in there feels warm and it feels too hot and it feels unhealthy to breathe it in. Hepar sulph, quite happy with that. Hot, warm, they don't want any drafts, they just feel worse. Their earache gets worse, their throat gets worse, their chest gets worse. Anything gets worse if they get wind on them, specifically cold wind. They really don't like it. And they get lots of sticking pains. Where can you find this? Again, nasosinus. Now, if you've got a sore throat with sticking pains, worse in cold, worse with being exposed to winds, better if you wrap up warm, better with warm fluids, better for being warm and cozy. It doesn't have to be only remedies that say for sore throats. If that's what you've got and you need Hepar sulph and it's in this product, that's the product you buy because it's the remedy that you need, not the product. So try and find the product that matches the remedy that you need, not the name of the product. Ferrum phos. Ferrum phos is used extensively by homeopaths. We love this remedy. It is the first signs of colds and flu. When you go, my throat's a bit sore. Yeah, that doesn't feel right. It's usually on a Friday morning and you've had a long day and you've got big plans for the weekend. And you think, am I just thirsty? Am I getting sick? And you start to panic. That's where Ferrum phos comes in. This is the remedy for the very beginning stages of a cold. That scratchy sore throat at the beginning, you're not sure if it's a scratch or if it's something else. That's this remedy, Hepar sulph. It's also for sore throats from too much talking. Very much for sore throats from too much talking. If you've been to a concert and you're screaming and you're thoroughly enjoying yourself and yelling and screaming or giving a lecture, and then you wake up the next morning and you think, oh, my throat's a bit sore. Ferrum phos. It's the beginning stages of a cold. It's also a lot of redness, heat, swelling, etc. It's a very, very good remedy. And it is in all sorts of products. So it's in Synfrontal. This basket, the Synfrontal product, is a basket of remedies for most colds and sniffles. It's the beginning stages of a cold, right into a head cold with a bit of a fever, and all the remedies in there are specifically for that kind of problem. Pentagen we've covered, and then Gripless One. Gripless One is more of a basket of remedies for influenza with fevers, and you're a little bit sicker when you need Gripless as a group of remedies. So write those down. And we'll move on to Belladonna. Now, Belladonna is always used for fevers. It's a fever remedy. It's also a headache remedy in private practice. We use it for that a lot. Belladonna is for the beginning stages of a fever. Now, when your body is trying to cook a virus, it raises the temperature because viruses are very sensitive to temperature and they die very quickly. So when the temperature rises, your body isn't wanting to cool itself down yet. It is still trying to rise the temperature enough to kill off viral fibers. So it rises the temperature. When it thinks it's done a good job, the fever then breaks. And they always used to talk about that in ye olde worldy. Oh no, the fever has broken, therefore the danger has passed. Jane Austen sort of stuff. So Belladonna is for the beginning stages of a fever. There's no sweating, because when you start to sweat, that is the other side of a fever. Now the body says, okay, all right, done my job. I can now cool down. And the emergency services come online and your body tries to cool you down. So the blood rushes to the outside of your body. You start to feel thirsty and you start to sweat a lot. Now that sweating is to reduce the core temperature. And the more you sweat, the more your body is trying to cool you down. That is the after effect of a fever. It's the second stage. Your body is actively trying to cool you down. Belladonna is a dry fever. There is no sweating. It's often seen in little people. They have cold hands, cold feet, and they have throbbing sensations. So if you've got a throbbing headache, it's a belladonna headache. They get flushed cheeks and they get glassy eyes. It's that dopey fever look, but they are dopey, very dopey with a fever. They're also restless. They can't get comfortable. Ugh. And this very specifically, I hope you can see my mouse on this bright red cheeks. They're dopey. Ugh. They are floppy and they are dry. It's a dry, dry fever. That's belladonna, and lots of throbbing headaches and throbbing sore throats. Sometimes you see a little person and you wonder, that baby looks super feverish, but the baby doesn't look terribly uncomfortable. Sometimes parents forget that children are different physiologies from us. They're a mouse and we're an elephant. They have a huge surface area to volume, as opposed to us, who has a small surface volume. We have a lot more volume and a lot less surface. So we have a different way of controlling our temperature. We also have different speed in our metabolism. So when children want to run around in winter without shoes on, without a jersey on, unless they have blue lips, let them go. Their metabolism is running really fast and they burn calories much faster than we do. And they heat their bodies from within much better than we do. So when little people, you know what it's like when the seasons change and you've dressed wrong for work and you've worn winter clothes and it's actually summer and you end up overdressed for the day. And you feel a little bit unwell by the end of the day. You've been overheated all day. That's what happens when little people are overdressed by their parents. Very often they'll come into my office and it's a mildly cold day. It's not even cold. It's just chills. But the mom feels cold. So she's put 6 layers of clothing on the poor little person. And the kid's got bright red cheeks. Bright red cheeks. And she thinks, oh no, he looks so unwell. I'm like, yes, you've overdressed him. You've overdressed him by a lot. And the layers start coming off and the kid starts to perk up like a flower that's been put back in the water. Don't overdress your kiddies. If they are not shivering and they're not cold, they're probably comfortable. So if they want to take off layers of clothing, if they start pulling at their clothes, let them take it off. And if they're old enough to want to take their clothes off, let them control their own body temperature. When you feel unwell like that because you've been overdressed, it's an opportunity to get sick. So don't overdress your kiddies when they don't need it to happen. Right, so where can we find belladonna? Bright red cheeks, glassy eyes, restless, high fevers, gripless. Very nice remedy, often used in flu. Then aconite, monk's hood. This is found on mountaintops, and a nice way to remember aconite is to see a mountain when the weather starts to change. Sudden changes in weather. Now, aconite is very much a remedy that is affected by environment and emotional environment. So aconite people who need aconite, they often get a high fever in response to sudden exposure to cold. And their fevers, when they get a fever, when they start getting sick, when they start a sore throat, when they start something, it's very, very sudden. Wham! They've now got a fever. They've now got a cold. It came out of nowhere. And it happened after exposure to cold or after a fright. Very often, a nasty shock or a nasty fright, and then the fever starts, or then the sore throat starts, or they start feeling unwell. It's after a fright. It's very sudden onset. And it progresses very quickly. They get lots of lovely headaches and they feel awful. And they are thirsty. They can't seem to get enough fluid in. They are very, very thirsty. Unlike Pulsatilla, completely thirstless. Right, aconite is found in gripless. Okay, Drosera. This is one of those lovely plants that eats animals. They live in swampland. This is sundew. Look at it. Oh, it's beautiful. Now, Drosera is a wonderful remedy for coughs. It's particularly sticky coughs, wet coughs, sometimes dry coughs with a lot of tickles and itches. But you can imagine how tickly, itchy, and sticky that mucus is. They catch hojas with it. That's the best way to remember Drosera. Drosera rotundifolia is a very common cough remedy. Cough, 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 repeated coughs, elongated coughs, coughs that get worse after laughing, after coughing, after eating, coughing that is worse with talking, coughing that is worse at night with a bit of a postnasal drip, tickly cough, wet cough. It is a very good universal cough remedy. We use it very frequently. Now, it is found in the Natura range in Cough Bron 1 and Cough Bron 2. These are two baskets of remedies that are aimed specifically more towards a dry cough and specifically more towards a wet cough. Now, usually a cough will start out dry and then a cough will get wet later. Depends on what's going on with the rest of the mucus system in your body. So these are the two remedies for coughs that you can get over the counter, and they both contain Drosera rotundifolia. Now, Merc-Sol is a very fabulous remedy. We use it frequently in homeopathic practice, and it is in several products. Now, Merc-Sol has two sides to its remedy picture. It has the initial side of a cold, and then it has a little bit more sort of serious side. So initially, what happens is the sneezing. So these are for colds and flus that start with sneezing. Sneeze, 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 sneeze. And then the sore throat starts. Desperate sore throat. Very, very awful sore throat. And then they get photophobia. Oof. The sun seems to be very bright. You're trying to find on your laptop, where's the button to turn the brightness on the screen? And you turn the screen on your cell phone down. And if somebody puts a light on at night, it's incredibly bright and it actually causes pain. They are very photophobic. They are also desperate, desperate sore throat. And they have a very specific symptom, a keynote. A keynote with Merc-Sol is that they have this. It's a very, very bad sore throat. It's in the middle, but it's so bad they don't want to swallow. But they have the constant urge to do so. They constantly want to swallow. So when someone has someone who needs Merc-Sol, they almost have to psych themselves up to swallow, and then 2 seconds later, they're doing it again. And because it's so sore, and they don't want to swallow all the time, the saliva collects in their mouth and they tend to be drooling. Yay. And kids will just, tiny people, they won't care. They'll just sit there and drool. But adults, we don't want to be the drooly one in the conversation. So we tend to swallow, and it's very uncomfortable. There's also the second side of Merc-Sol, which is when the fevers start. They get a very high fever and it's wet. This is the second part of a fever. This remedy is specifically for when they start sweating, and they sweat. They're very, very thirsty, drink large amounts of water, whether it's hot or cold water. They just want fluid, large amounts of it, and it's not so uncomfortable to swallow that fluid. Empty swallowing is excruciating. Fluid, not nearly as painful. It's found in synfrontal, it's found in pentagen, and it's found in gripless. So you can see this basket here, synfrontal, the basket of remedies, is more for coughs and sniffles. So the beginning stages. If you're not sure and you have more of the fever symptoms, but you think it's Merc-Sol, then more gripless. If you're absolutely unsure and you just know there's something wrong, cold fighter, pentagen. Then Nux vomica. Now you're going to meet Nux vomica several times. You will also meet Pulsatilla again when we do other sections. Nux vomica and Pulsatilla are what's called polycrest remedies. They are very big, very common presentations, specifically of the physical and the mental and emotional side of being unwell. Now Nux voms are, you all know one. You all know someone who needs this remedy when they're sick. They are grumpy and they do not like being sick, and they resent it very badly. And they are in their general lives highly driven, motivated A-type personalities that are exacting and very particular about things being done the right way. Now, when they get sick, they are miserable patients. They resent everything. They do not want to be outdoors. They want to be indoors. In fact, they actually feel worse if they go out in the healthy, clean air. They want to be in their closed up, stuffy bedroom. They're miserable patients. And you think, it's man flu, it's man flu. Yes, It's a common presentation of man flu, but it's also, kids can be grumpy too. Very grumpy little people when they are not well. Very grumpy. They also have specific symptoms that are around about the nose and the mouth and the chest. So when a nux vomica is sick with colds and flu, their nose dries up at night and it gets this horrible, burny, dry feeling of blocked and dry and discomfort. And then during the day, when they want to get on with things, their nose starts to run, and it runs and runs and runs and runs and runs, and it irritates them very badly. They do, however, feel much better if you can get them to rest. If they do actually take a break and they do actually rest, they heal up quite quickly, and they're much better for having the rest that they need but that they resent. Nux voms also want rich foods. They are, as a personality, as a remedy type or a physical type that reacts this way, they are people who like stimulants. They like a lot of coffee. They like a lot of heavy foods. They like cigarettes. If they're smokers, they really like their cigarettes. They like coffee, they like rich, heavy foods, and they like their alcohol. And they like wine, and they like beer. And all of that overindulgence tends to make their body a little bit unwell. So we're going to talk about them again when we do the digestive system. But nux voms are miserable, grumpy, irritable, resentful of being sick, and difficult to handle. You all know one of these. Nux vom is in nasosinus. Nasosinus, very much for blocked upness. Right, then Eupatorium. Now, there are remedies that are good for lots and lots of symptoms, and I've just mentioned nux vom, and we will meet Pulsatilla again. Eupatorium, on the other hand, is one of those one-hit wonders. This remedy is specifically used in practice and in products over the counter for one symptom. This is for bone pain, that achy, feverish feeling where your skin feels wrong and your bones feel broken and you just feel awful. That fever feeling, that achy fever feeling, that's Eupatorium perfoliatum. And it is very good at treating that. It's in Gripless. This is your basket for colds and flu. Then Nat Mur or Natrium muriaticum. This is also a polycrest, very common remedy in private practice. We use it for mucus and mucousy issues a lot. And it has also very specific keynotes that you can recognize in yourself and your family members. There is lots and lots and lots of mucus, and it just keeps dripping like a tap. It's not particularly thick. It has an egg white consistency, and it just keeps coming. Mucus, mucus, mucus. When you have this kind of cold, please be nice to your nose and get good tissues. So it has an egg white mucus. It kind of feels a bit tacky. It's not watery. It's sticky, and it has an egg white consistency. So when you wipe with the tissue, there can be strings. It's very albuminous. That's NATMO. There's lots of sneezing. Mucus, mucus, sneezing. They just feel, it's a head cold. And then they get fever blisters. This remedy has a tendency to get fever blisters with a fever and fever blisters with coughs and sniffles. Right, they're also very thirsty. They have a craving for salt, lots of salty foods. They want chips. They want crackers, they want salty food. And if they're eating anything, they want to put extra salt over the top. And they're also very, very thirsty. They drink lots and lots and lots of cold water. They want lots of cold, specifically cold water. Aconite, very thirsty. Didn't matter what temperature, specifically thirsty. Merxol, very, very thirsty. Pulsatilla, not thirsty at all. Natmur wants cold fluid. If you give them tepid fluid, they will turn their nose up. Okay, this is in Pentagen. This is a normal looking cold. This product is your general cold fighter. Then let's talk about building a healthy immune system. Now, during the pandemic, everyone was taking large and terrifying quantities of all sorts of supplements, and we were buying into all kinds of things. Now, there are some common sense ways to help your body have a strong immune system and to give those immune cells of yours the help that they need to do a good job. Part of that is to stop making things worse. So don't be dehydrated. When your body is properly hydrated, all the systems in your body need fluid to do the catalyst functions of all your normal physiological behaviors. So you need to drink water. Drink it. Put a reminder on your cell phone. Put a glass in the bathroom next to the toilet. I don't mind. Drink fluid. It's not 8 glasses per person per day. It's about 35 mils per kilo body mass. So go and Google it, because I know you can. Go and Google how much fluid is a good idea. It's generally 30 to 35 milliliters per kilo body mass. That's how much you should be drinking. Then, if you get desperately thirsty, listen to your body. You have dehydrated somehow, and you need to drink all that your body wants. Sleep. When you don't get good sleep, your immune system doesn't function properly. If there are things making you sleep badly, try and fix them as a matter of priority. Very much so. We're going to talk about stress 2 lectures from now, but we are going to talk about all kinds of ways of dealing with insomnia. But if you are sleeping badly, your immune system needs help. You need to fix that. And Netflix and Showmax and TV binging, that is not a good enough excuse to stay up until the wee hours of the morning. You need to sleep. Then, sex. Very important to have a regular orgasm. Your body needs that release of hormones that happen when you have sex, whether it's all by yourself or with a partner. But a really good, healthy sex life is important to your immune function. So go at it. Then, people, your diet. You cannot expect your Maserati to drive like a Maserati if you are feeding it tractor fuel. You actually have to eat what your body wants to build a healthy immune system. The more sugar and muck you put in your body, the more your immune system is struggling to deal with the effects of bad food, and it's distracted when other things come along, and it doesn't fix the problem soon enough. We know that sugar is a bad idea. It reduces the function of your immune system and it reduces the response you have to viruses. So please, please, please try not to eat rubbish. Try and eat things that are at least a little bit of a help. So I tell people that digesting food takes energy. Do not waste energy on digesting rubbish. Vitamin C, this is absolutely essential. Your immune system cannot function without that. Also, when there is damage to cells after you've had a virus, you need to repair those cells. And to get nice, healthy, elastic tissue, you need vitamin C. So this is an absolutely essential part of your diet. If you are not eating at least 2 vegetables a day, please, please start supplementing with all possible haste. Now, there is a product on the market called Vitamin C Select. It's a buffered vitamin C. Why we want it buffered is because when you put ascorbic acid into your stomach without food, it does tend to be a large amount of acid in one go. A buffered vitamin C, excellent choice. People who are smokers and their stomach lining is more vulnerable, you must buy a buffered vitamin C, please. 1,000 milligrams once or twice a day is an excellent dose. If you find that you have now definitely been exposed, you can up your dose. Than that, you are just making urine a different consistency. This is a water-soluble vitamin and it will wash away. So take it, the amount that you're going to use within that period of time and not extra. Then zinc. Oh, we love zinc. Zinc is an excellent way of helping those immune cells kill viruses effectively and recognize them in the first place. We've been using zinc and zinc lozenges for years and years and years. And everybody knows this works very nicely. So this Zinc Select product is little white lozenges. Some people find that when they swallow large amounts of zinc, that their stomach doesn't like it. When you suck it, it's a sweet little, it's very small. It's a very small little lozenge. It disappears very quickly. I found that these are very well tolerated by everyone. I haven't had any problems. Whereas the tablets, swallowing, not quite so much fun. Then you need to be active. Even if it's cold, Get out and move around. Do not be a couch potato under a blanket. Put a jacket on, put some warm shoes on, put a hat on and a scarf, get dressed warmly in the middle of winter and go outside. If it is summer, wonderful. It's natural for you to be outside, but please be active. Please move and use your body so that it can break down today's chemicals and start fresh tomorrow. The more you move, the healthier your immune system will be. Go outside in the sunshine. Vitamin D comes in your skin. We need it. Vitamin D is a very important part of building a healthy immune system, and we get the best vitamin D from the sun. So go outside and be in the sun. Another benefit of being in the sun is when it hits the back of your eye, serotonin gets released. And it's the pink champagne happy hormone, and we feel better about the world when we have some sunshine. Then deal with things that cause anger in your life. Don't just ignore them. If things are irritating you again and again and causing stress, try and deal with the stress. It actually starts over a period of time to deplete your immune function. So start dealing with your stress. Then, I'm very happy with this product. This is sort of a one-stop shop for immune boosting. It's the vitamin D that you get from the sunshine. It's the vitamin C, the zinc, and selenium. One-stop shop for immune boosting, and you can get it everywhere. It retails at less than 150 Rand, and you take your 2 a day and you can stop worrying about what supplements you need. Then common sense. If you've been exposed to a virus, we want a large amount of white cells to be released in one go. Fight off the virus before it has a chance to latch onto cells and divide itself and then become a bigger problem as an invader. Pentagen contains pelargonium. It's a herb. This is the only herbal product in the whole range, and this herb helps your body to release large amounts of white cells and effectively combat the first stages of a viral infection. The homeopathic remedies in here are also to help you to deal with a viral infection. But if you have been exposed, so what I used to tell people is when they've been to a kiddie's birthday party and there was 3 or 4 little people running around, snotting around, and obviously in those days, nobody wore a mask and nobody was obsessively washing their hands, except the one OCD woman that you all looked at funny. That woman knew what she was doing. Then everyone at that birthday party had been exposed to those 3 kids with sniffles. And after that, it's a good idea to take an immune booster like Pentagen for a couple of days just to help your body catch the virus before it becomes a bigger problem. Right, and that's the end of colds and flu. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. The website and the Facebook page is always available for you to ask questions after this course is over. And at any time, if you have a question, please put it in the chat box, and I know we'll be available after this for chats. And you can ask us questions, and if there's anything that I know everybody would benefit from the answer, I will answer that live. Thank you so much.